Zeus energy was something that was said to encompass intelligence, robust health, goodwill, compassionate decisiveness, and generous leadership. And so when I heard that, holy shit, that hit me, and I was like, fuck yeah. That is something that I can connect to for me as a strong and powerful and meaningful North Star for what I can strive to be and to become. But also I think that that's something that every man, regardless of who you are, your background, your individuality, can take hold of and create as a North Star for who he wants to become and who he wants to be day to day. Because that allows for the individuality across humanity. Intelligence, which I expand to a curious and open mind, in case you get stuck on, well, maybe I'm not that intelligent, it means a curious and open mind. Robust health, compassionate decisiveness, goodwill, and generous leadership. And it was said that the idea of Zeus energy was male authority accepted for the sake of the community. That is something that I can get behind. This work, initially, is very much for yourself. Dig into you, understand you, become your best, so then you can be your best for those around you. The mistake that a lot of men make, the position, the place that a lot of men are in, is that we are consistently doing for others, trying to be everything for everyone. That superhero lone wolf. But that's coming from a place of lack and neediness. It says, I'll do this so that then I will feel like I'm good enough. I will feel like I'm worthy of your love, of deserving of happiness, of a successful life, of ease, of the things I want. It's conditional in part. Versus, I want to be my best so I can give my best. That's it. No transaction, no need in response. Because that brings this immense sense of purpose and contribution, which is something innate to humans. Because when we come back to this lone wolf idea, you've got to think of this. For the longest time in human history and human evolution, we survived in small tribal bands. And if you were ostracized out of the tribe, if you were not part of the community, if you became, quote unquote, the lone dude, the lone wolf, the lone hunter, then there's a good chance you may not have survived. At best, you fought to survive. Not being part of the pack was close to your death. It certainly did not mean thriving. And so it is innate in us to be tribal creatures, to be part of community, and men absolutely need this. There's a whole lot more we can go into in terms of our nature as hunters and all this kind of stuff. But here's what I want to speak to, and that's a little bit of an example. There is a wide range of men that come into Everyday Legends Academy. There's a wider range of men that come into coaching. I don't work with all sorts of guys, but I work with a particular set of guys, but there's a lot of variation in them. What it really comes down to is a commonality on where they find themselves in life. I like to talk about this. On a spectrum of personal development, at one end you might have Tony Robbins, and at the other end we've got Homer Simpson. And the men I work with tend to sit right bang in the middle and just either side. Just either side meaning they're pretty new to this work. Maybe they hear a podcast and they start thinking about this stuff. They listen to 15,000 more podcasts and slowly work up the courage to start something. They're just brand new to it, and then something happens in their life. Maybe their partner says, you got to fucking do something or I'm out. And they step into it and they start. Or maybe they've been listening to things for a while and they're testing and they're doing things and they're downloading things and they're trying to apply things. They read some books, they put some stuff into action, they start meditating, they do some things, they're journaling a little bit. Or maybe they've been doing some work, seen some therapists, seen some coaches, done some stuff, but they've hit a ceiling, hit a point at which they can't go beyond it by themselves. What's very consistent a lot of the time is a feeling of being somewhat stuck, a bit unsure, wanting more but unsure what that is or how to go about getting it. But here's something very crucial. The fact that we start having the conversation and they step into the work is that finally the pain, discomfort and frustration of where they're at becomes bigger than the fear of doing something about it and what seeking support and being challenged into growth might involve. This is crucial. So I want to say that again. Because what will happen is we'll be experiencing some frustrating shit, but we won't do anything about it. We think, why the fuck not? Because we build up this idea of doing something about it is so much worse. And so I'll happily stay with the devil I know. But when we step into the work, it's because finally that pain, discomfort, and frustration of all that shit of where I am right now is too big. It's bigger than what I think doing something about it will involve. And so we can step into the work. And what blocks this is usually a lack of clarity and understanding of what growth and support involve, right? An idea of what being coached, being seen, being part of group, etc. Environments might involve. But it's easy, it's light when we learn how to take off all the shit that you've been dragging around. And actually sometimes we need support in cutting loose the straps of all that fucking baggage. And picking through it and understanding it and knowing what to let go of and what needs addressing and what needs work. And here's something that's pretty common for those guys is that fundamentally insecurities are running the show. And this often comes back, not always, often when we really get into it, comes back to feelings of enoughness, not enoughness, doubt over our ability, our competence, our worth, feelings of being a failure, terrified of being a failure, something being wrong with me, all this kind of stuff. We're often chasing more status, approval, money, whatever it is, to feel enough, muscles, women, whatever, to feel good enough, to feel successful, to feel like we can get what we want. And so the work that we've got to do is we've got to dig in. We have to build the foundation of security in self. And that's what we do. We move to this place, when we put in all the secret sauce, content, coaching, community, so we can get to this grounded peace. So that you make sense. So that you can calmly face what you are faced with. So that you can have clarity. Clarity allows us time. So I can be decisive. I can set direction. I can know. Right? That's what grounded peace is. Clarity. Solid. Secure. Able to make decisions and step towards purpose. Consistently in action towards things that challenge me. Into growth. It's like this idea of finally feeling at home. I've arrived. I feel at peace in my skin. There's a very, very consistent shift in the guys that we work with. And a lot of that comes in the work that we do, going through the content, but most of it comes in the relationship to others. Humans and healing must happen in large part in relationship.
You have been listening to the Everyday Legends podcast, Moments, a short snippet from the show that is dedicated to championing everyday men and supporting you and getting more from life, love, and the everyday. If you have enjoyed this moment, then the next logical step is to check out the full episode if you haven't. And if you think that you have someone in your life, a man that could benefit from, will enjoy this moment, then pass it on to him. As always, if you like this podcast, then please click subscribe, click download first, all those things that supports us and this podcast getting in front of more men like you. I've been your host, Mike Campbell. Remember, keep building those rock-solid foundations, build that legendary integrity, and keep creating those kick-ass relationships.
Intelligence, which I expand to curious and open mind, in case you get stuck on, well, maybe I'm not that intelligent. It means a curious and open mind.